At the annual company party, the room was alive with laughter, clinking glasses, and soft jazz music playing in the background. I had expected it to be a casual evening, one of those events where you nod politely, shake a few hands, and leave before the awkward small talk got unbearable. But this year it felt different. My wife, Emily, had insisted I come with her. Usually I didn't mind attending these corporate gatherings, but tonight there was an unusual tension in her demeanor. She appeared flawless in a black dress that shimmered subtly under the chandelier lights, and her smile was radiant, but her eyes told a different story. Every few minutes she glanced around the room, her lips pressing into a thin line whenever someone approached. I followed her lead, keeping a careful distance as she navigated the crowd. That's when she whispered almost coldly, "Don't let them think we're a couple." I paused, trying to mask the flicker of surprise that crossed my face. "Excuse me?" I asked quietly, leaning in to hear her over the music. Her gaze sharpened. I said, "Don't let them think we're together. It's just easier that way." She didn't offer an explanation, but there was a peculiar firmness in her tone, as if this was not a request but a command. I smiled, calmly, even as my mind raced. Part of me wanted to ask why, to demand an answer right there on the polished dance floor. But years of being married to Emily had taught me that confrontation didn't always get the truth. You had to observe, wait, and let people reveal themselves. As she mingled, laughing at jokes I hadn't heard, I stayed silent, pretending to be absorbed in a conversation with a colleague about mundane project deadlines. But my eyes never left her. And that's when I noticed subtle things. The way she leaned slightly closer to her manager when he told a joke, the way her laughter lingered a little too long, the way her phone buzzed repeatedly in her clutch, always on vibrate. A private investigator by nature, though not by profession, I had an instinct for details, for patterns, for moments that most would dismiss as trivial. And something about tonight didn't sit right. I didn't say a word. I didn't pull her aside. I didn't betray suspicion. I merely watched. And I waited. As the night went on, Emily floated through the room with an ease that almost seemed rehearsed. Colleagues gravitated toward her naturally. She had always been magnetic. But tonight, there was something different. It wasn't just her charm. It was calculated, precise, almost theatrical. And the more I observed, the more subtle signals began to emerge, pieces of a puzzle I didn't yet understand. She laughed at every comment her manager made, leaning just slightly closer than necessary, her hand brushing his shoulder accidentally. Each time she glanced at me, as if to gauge whether I had noticed, but she never made eye contact long enough to truly connect. That's when it hit me. She wanted me there, but not present in the way I thought. I excused myself for a moment to refill my drink, pretending to be distracted. My mind was spinning. Why would she tell me not to appear as a couple if she didn't have something to hide? I thought. Years together had taught me the subtle differences between casual flirtation and purposeful deception. And Emily, my Emily, was no amateur. Her movements were deliberate, her smiles measured, her laughter strategically placed. When I returned, I noticed her standing near a small group, her manager talking animatedly while she listened, nodding at all the right moments. She didn't see me approach, but I watched silently from the edge of the crowd. And then I saw it. A fleeting touch, almost imperceptible, but enough to ignite a spark of certainty in my gut. She was acting like we were strangers, but her gestures said otherwise. I smiled again, internally, privately, a small smirk that no one else would see, because I knew something she didn't. The truth was, I had noticed patterns before, tiny signs in our everyday life that most people ignored. A lingering glance, a soft text she thought I wouldn't see, her voice adjusting slightly when she lied. And tonight, all those pieces converged into a single undeniable picture. She had no idea that her little game, her "just don't let them think we're together" trick, would backfire so spectacularly. I didn't need to confront her. I didn't need to accuse her. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence, the kind that lets the other person unravel on their own. And unravel she would. By the time the party started winding down, I had made my decision. I would play the perfect husband, oblivious, polite, supportive, but all the while, the truth simmered quietly beneath the surface. And when the moment came, she would finally understand why I had smiled when she gave that impossible instruction. As the final speeches wrapped up, Emily and I prepared to leave. She adjusted her dress, smoothed her hair, and smiled at me, that practiced smile I had seen 1,000 times. "Ready to go?" she asked, her tone casual as if nothing had happened. I nodded, keeping my expression neutral. Inside, a storm was brewing, quiet, controlled, inevitable. The moment we stepped outside, I didn't reach for her hand. I didn't compliment her. I simply walked to the car, letting her follow. She looked at me, confusion flickering across her face. Normally, she would have pulled me aside, whispered excuses, tried to charm her way back into control. But tonight she hesitated. That pause, just a second, was enough for me to know she sensed something was off, though she didn't yet know what. We got into the car. I started the engine without a word. She glanced at me, searching my eyes. "Is everything okay?" she asked, a hint of anxiety creeping in. I allowed myself a small smile, calm and deliberate. "Everything's fine," I said softly, but my tone carried a weight she couldn't ignore. As we drove home, I watched her subtly, noticing how her body language had shifted. The casual ease was gone. She was tense, alert, uncertain. And I realized that the smile I had given her at the party, when she instructed me not to let anyone think we were a couple, had planted a seed. A seed of doubt, of curiosity, of fear. By the time we pulled into the driveway, I knew it was time. I parked the car and looked at her, letting the silence stretch just long enough for her mind to fill in the blanks. Her eyes widened slightly, heart racing, sensing that the game she had tried to control for hours was slipping from her fingers. I didn't need to explain. I didn't need to accuse. I didn't need to raise my voice. Sometimes the most devastating power lies in what you don't say. Sometimes the truth speaks louder than any words. And as I stepped out of the car, letting her linger in that moment of unspoken realization, I smiled once more. Quietly, privately, perfectly. Emily had no idea why I smiled. She would replay every word, every gesture, every laugh from the party in her mind, searching for a clue. But the truth was simple. I had seen it all. I had understood it all. And now she would understand too, without me uttering a single accusatory word. The night ended, the city lights reflecting off the wet pavement, and I walked into our home, calm, collected, certain. She followed, but the dynamic had shifted. For the first time in a long time, I held the quiet power, and she finally had to reckon with the consequences of her own choices.